Already, the formation of the anti-development NDP government in BC is creating fallout across Canada's energy sector. Petronas, the Malaysian oil and gas giant, has just officially killed its $36 billion investment into a liquefied natural gas mega project in northern BC. That gas project in Port Edward, BC would have been one of the largest single foreign investments in Canadian history and would have created 4,500 jobs. But much like what happened in the days and weeks and now months and years after the election of Rachel Notley in Alberta, companies are just deciding that BC isn't worth the risk with an NDP government that is explicitly against oil and gas development in BC or anywhere else for that matter. This is a huge, huge loss for northern BC and even northern Alberta. Northern Alberta would have benefited from the spin-off in economic activity. And, well, the BC NDP, they're using the same old excuses their Alberta cousins use when oil and gas projects put their assets on fire sale just to get away from us. They blame international market prices. And while some of that may be true, it sure doesn't explain the booming liquefied natural gas export markets in more business-friendly places around the world like Texas and Australia. And just to be fair, this isn't just a BC NDP problem. They only turbocharged the damage just by merely being elected. Out of the 20 LNG projects proposed in BC in the last 6 years, not one has been built. A combination of an unfriendly federal Liberal government who thinks taxes by social license and a former BC Liberal government that played both sides of the fence, trying to garner environmentalist support and business support too, only added to the delays and uncertainty, taking 3 years to get approval for the Petronas project by 2016. What Petronas needed in light of slipping global market conditions is the same thing the oil companies that left Alberta and took with them their $30 billion in investment. Petronas needed less government costs, gnawing away at their bottom line. Instead, the BC NDP promised more. And the after effects of the withdrawal of Petronas won't stop at the BC border. Petronas giving up on Canada will create spin-off damage for us here in Alberta. The Port Edward project would have provided propane, butane, and other products to the industrial heartland here northeast of Edmonton for use in oil and gas upgrading and value-added production. That's going to cost us jobs here. And the Petronas deal being killed should call into question every single oil and gas project in BC, like the Trans Mountain Pipeline project. The pipeline companies sure don't sound all that optimistic about Canada anymore. A senior executive with TransCanada called the loss of Petronas, and I quote, "a tragedy for Canada, a real condemnation of this country and the utterly unproductive entities in it that simply make any development virtually impossible." End quote. That's a strong statement about the approval process here in Canada, the one the environmentalists say is broken and far too easy. And just like in Alberta, I think it's time to start keeping track of the job losses in BC. Today, directly 4,500 jobs will never materialize, and dozens, maybe hundreds more will be lost in Alberta because Petronas thought Canada was just too risky, while Petronas still maintains their investments in places like Iraq. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Now, did you like that? Do you want to see more conservative news with a Canadian viewpoint that you just can't get anywhere else? If you do, click the link below to subscribe to our Rebel Canada YouTube page.